Don't really have an explanation. There's not. Maybe it's the excitement of traveling because we've been kind of so stuck in pretty much in the places that we live and in the practice facility, that maybe it improves the energy to get out. But we easily could have lost the neutral site or any of the road games we've played, and we easily could have won all of our home games. So I don't know. It's without a crowd, it's hard to pinpoint that.
Mike, Anthony?
Thanks. Hey, Dan.
What's up, Mike?
Can you just share your thoughts on RJ Cole's body of work through 9 games, what you see from him? Obviously, point guard does a lot more than score, but on that particular front, what can he do to maybe be a little bit more efficient moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some, tactical things, that RJ's got to do better. He's obviously struggled from 2. He's really he struggled offensively in the paint to finish shots. So he's got to take we've talked about taking a different approach, in there. And I just think it's more, I thought, he shot the ball well enough for us to win against St. John's, but he didn't bring enough intangibles from that position. The leadership, the communication, the infusing of confidence into his teammates, the direction. I think hopefully it's an eye opener for him. The other day, playing against Posh Alexander, who was just like oozing those intangibles. So he's got a big matchup tomorrow. We need him to keep improving, especially with the injuries to James and to Andre.
Neil?
Thanks.
Dan, speaking of those guys, how are James and Andre? Is Andre getting a little closer, maybe, I don't know, a week or 2 more, something like that, and James as well?
Yeah, this has sucked for Dre just because I think he'd be at the point that Adama's now at if he doesn't get hurt, in a sense of, I think he'd be starting to show his talents and abilities. And, obviously he was a huge part of what we were going to trot out there in year 3. So, we're hoping he's doing more this week. He's got another important appointment next week. If he's pain-free next week, you could then be seeing him at any point. And, James, it could be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. It really just depends on how quickly, he gets out there.
Guys, raise your hands if you got it. Dom, go ahead.
Yeah, Dan, I guess Creighton's kind of shown the last week that how tough this league is, that nobody really steamrolls through it. Eventually, they're going to hit a bump in the road along the way. What have you seen from them and the way they've been playing the last week? Anything different from what you saw on the 20th?
Yeah, obviously Zagorowski. Anytime you have an injury to such a great player and to the engine of your team, that first game back is, I think it's an adjustment. Him finding his flow and kind of reconnecting. They're an excellent team. Nothing's changed, with the exception of the fact that they went through a tough stretch, which most teams go through a couple of them a year. And, just a typical, when you play in a great league, and obviously we're finding that out now when our effort, the effort we gave the other day probably would have gotten it done for us last year. But this Big East is a different animal. Especially with book out for us.
Charlotte?
Hey, Dan, you kind of were talking about RJ's kind of missing intangibles. On the flip side of that, has there been anyone you've been really impressed with, like seeing those intangibles, but maybe not showing so much on the court, if that makes sense?
I mean, not really. I mean, yeah, no, that's been my, I feel like, we've talked about a lot with these guys the last couple of days. There were a lot of, St. John's, their huddles were more lively. Their players, the look in their players' eyes was more fierce and more determined. We were very disconnected. Our huddles were not producing like real communication and conversation and energy to go and get that game. So we've talked a lot the last couple of days about the competitive will that Posh Alexander displayed, the leadership that their players displayed. We had too many quiet guys, and I feel I took a step back the last couple of days in practice and demanded more energy from them. I feel like they lean too much on me to create the energy, and we need more of a player-driven team than a coach-driven team.
As you stepped back these last couple of days, who did you see maybe kind of step up or start to be really vocal, or who are you looking to do that?
Yeah, I mean, RJ tried. I think the main guys here that need to run this team and to lead this team are RJ and Isaiah in particular. You can't ask Tyrese or Adama, although I've asked them. I've asked Adama to impose his drive and how determined he is, because he's a special guy. But those guys, for the most part, it's been RJ and Isaiah need to lead this team. And losing Bouknight's talent hurts, but because he's one of the best players in the country. But we also miss his personality, because he was the alpha, the confident guy. I think he infused confidence into the group. So somebody else has got to infuse that, and it can't be a coach, because we're not allowed on the court.
Wayne, did you have something, Wayne? Sorry.
No, but I'm just talking about rebounding a little bit. That they're even on the boards, but yet they beat you. I think it was 48-41 in the glass in the overtime game. And even though they lost to Providence, they out-rebounded Providence, which is a pretty good rebounding team. So I'm assuming that you're stressing rebounding in this game tomorrow, like you do every game. Yeah,
I mean, just we're more vulnerable overall as a team. But we're more vulnerable on the glass. James positionally was a tremendous rebounder for a secondary guard, and Tyrese is a tremendous rebounder. But for us, Wayne, it's been defensive glass. We just missed so many blockouts against St. John's and against Creighton the first time, and Bishop, he kicked our butt bad on the interior in that game. But obviously, with the limitations that we have a little bit offensively right now, we can't afford to give away extra possessions to anyone, not just Creighton.
Your hands. Dave?
And obviously, RJ did a good job on Zagorowski the last time out. It seems like, have you been happy with the way you guys have kind of controlled the opposing team's sort of top guy overall, with Champagne and Charlie Moore? And by and large, when we've focused on a particular guy, you feel like you've done a good job containing him this season?
Some games we have, some games we haven't. Do a good job on their best player. You can't let bench guys come in and do what the St. John's bench guys did to us, though, or else it all means nothing.
Mike Crispino?
Hey, Dan, the other night, Providence went in there and ran off a bunch of points, got a huge lead in that game. How important is the start to the game tomorrow for your team, do you think?
I think it's important just because we're coming off of, a game that we were out toughed in, which could never happen to us like ever again. I think it's certainly okay to lose during the course of the season. Sometimes you play a superior opponent. Sometimes you don't play your best game in terms of you just don't make shots or the ball doesn't fall. But, just for me, it just the last couple of days, it's really just kind of, it's like a thorn in your side, just having to live with the fact that you are out toughed. So, part of toughness is being ready to play right from the start. But, they're going to be ready to go. They've lost a couple in a row. We're expecting, obviously, the best version of them tomorrow.